Greetings all. You've just been listening to an ambient guitar meditation that I recorded with one of my very best friends, Jim Wall. If you haven't seen it, listen to the whole thing. I'll include a link around here somewhere, so check it out. I thought after that performance or that recording that it might be a good idea to kind of walk through it and talk about how you can use, in particular, a guitar, some delays, and a looper to create multiple textures. So that's what I'd like to do on today's video. Let's kind of walk through the parts and pieces and see how it all works together. First of all, let's address the bass part. So my buddy Jim was playing a really awesome old Fender jazz bass. I don't have one, I don't own it, but I do have my Ibanez SRC6 short scale bass, and I can show you his settings for the piece. So let's go ahead and get to work. Okay, here's my clean tone with this particular bass. Okay, and this bass, it's a 6-string bass, but the E, A, D, G strings are tuned just like a standard bass. That's the way Jim had his bass tuned. So the piece is in the key of D, and his part is very emotional, evocative, but very simple. He's just playing a G to an F sharp to a D, and then G, F sharp, A, and then G, F sharp, D, and then down to the A. Okay, very simple. Now, how did we get the tone for him? The keys are two things. One is a compressor, and I've got it on. Check out with the compressor off. That's pretty cool, but it's actually a little quieter the way we have it set up, but the sustain is much longer and it's more smooth sounding. The second thing we used on the track was the Strymon timeline. And we're actually using one of the factory settings called Smeared, and it makes use of the swell delay type with the Strymon timeline. Okay, and here's what that sounds like. Nice sound. So the swell delay essentially has an envelope adjustment on the front end of the delay, so you can dial in a slow ramp in terms of the actual sound of the delay. Pretty much have the dry signal turned all the way off, so it's 100% wet, and as you can probably hear, there is some modulation going on. And there's a little bit of a trick to using this delay, and that is that if you want to get a swell to each note, you'll actually need to stop the note that's playing before you go to the next note. So in other words, you'll have to do... Okay, and that will allow the envelope follower to kick in and swell up the sound. So let me show you what I mean. If you just try to play a bunch of notes together like you normally would, you'll actually trick the envelope follower. And that's not a bad sound. We were just looking for a nice smooth swell to each note, kind of like a volume pedal. Okay, so that's the deal on the bass. Pretty straightforward, but really, really nice, and especially the way Jim plays it. Excellent. Let's move on to the guitar. All right, I have switched over to my guitar, so let's talk about the guitar parts. There's one bass layer, but I do have multiple guitar layers going on within the piece. So, the guitar first. It's one of my PRS SE277s. This one is the solid body with humbuckers. The pickup selector is in the middle, and I've got the tone control almost all the way down. It's at about 3 or so. I'm running it into a clean Fender amp model on my Avid 11 rack, and here's what it sounds like. Okay, and I just want to mention I do have a compressor in the signal also. All right, so a little bit more about the guitar. I've got 2 capos on this guitar to create a faux dadgad style tuning. So a full capo on the 3rd fret, a partial capo on the 5th fret. If you want to learn more about this technique, I've got a full episode on how to use capos. Check it out. All right, so capos on, guitars tuned. I'm playing in the key of D. Whoops. Yeah, I'm playing in the key of whatever, right? Key of D. All right, where do we go from here? Next is a delay. And I'm using the Strymon Dig, which, as you may know, has 2 delay lines. So if you're looking at the little blinking light there, it's a fairly fast delay. And delay number 2 is going to sound a dotted quarter after delay number 1. Here's what it sounds like. Okay, so pretty complex delay. It's fairly fast, so it kind of blends together as you play. And I'm playing in the key of D, and the chords are very simple. I'm basically playing a G major and an A major, forms of a G major and A major. Here we go. That's the whole piece for the guitar. So just like the bass, the key parts are very, very simple, very mellow and very simple. Now, how do I get the layers? This is where a looping pedal comes in, and I am using the TC Electronic Ditto X4. The reason why I'm using this particular looper is that it has 2 separate loops that can record independently. Now, if you don't have the Ditto X4, there are other loopers out there that support multiple loops. Some are even more than 2, 3, 4 loops. So you can definitely do this with another brand if you don't have the Ditto X4. All right, what I did then was simply create 1 loop of the basic guitar part. So let me go ahead and do that. And that was on loop number 1. Here we go. I won't let it play through, but that's basically the loop, right? And that goes through the entire song. It just repeats over and over again. It's kind of mellow and very peaceful sounding. Now I need some other layers, and for that I'm going to use loop number 2. So what I'm going to do is start playing back loop number 1, and then for loop number 2, I'm going to use the Heat Sound EBow to create some mellow lead lines. If you're not familiar with the EBow, you can check out an episode I did on how to play the EBow. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start loop number 1, and we'll let it run through, and then I will bring in a lead line as the loop kind of comes around to the top. So here we go. Okay, and I didn't get the loop quite smooth, but you get the picture. Now I can begin to layer other ebow parts on top of my initial ebow line. So let me do that. So I played this this note first. So now I'm going to play. Actually, I'll play this one. Yeah, I kind of like that. All right, so let's go ahead and get things started here. Okay, so that's cool. Again, not quite smooth, but you get the picture. And now I can just play some lead on top of that without actually creating a loop. So let's do that. Isn't that cool? Well, the playing wasn't cool. The playing was really sloppy. But again, hopefully you get the idea of building layers that complement the underlying guitar part. And again, listen to the original piece. There's this profound bass swell going on underneath the entire thing. Well, there you have it. Just some simple techniques for creating multiple layers with a guitar, a delay, and a looper, and if you've got it, a friend with an awesome bass who's a really fine bass player. You can do a lot with just that combination. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel. I've got ambient guitar-related content coming every week. I'd love to have you on board. Also, if you have not yet done so, I would love it if you would check out Chords of Orion Music. And as always, I'll see all of you on the next video.